Welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show, where wealth means a lot more than just building a second stream of income. Listen and learn how 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate to create a lifestyle that most people only dream about. A lifestyle that includes good health, family, romance, travel, charity, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Now, here is your host, real estate investor and mentor, Steve Davis.
Good afternoon and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Steve Davis, where as always, we're here talking about using real estate to build a life that's worth living, a life that includes all the parts of a balanced life, family, romance, all that. Today we're going to talk about apartment complexes and why most of the time it's more effective than single family by itself. Now, this comes with a bold disclaimer that apartments are tough. They're difficult to run. You have to know what you're doing to do this correctly. I've seen very, very, very intelligent people make mistakes with apartment complexes and lose $75,000 in 1 month. You have to have a syndicator, the person who's running the property, that knows what they're doing, is responsible, and most importantly, capable of running that thing. Now, in our classes, we teach people how to do that, of course, but there's so many people out there listening to radio shows and they're like, oh, I'll just listen to a radio show and go out there and buy an apartment. You'll get slaughtered. That's all there is to it. You will get destroyed. How do I know that? Because I've bought multiple apartment complexes from guess who? People just like that. People who did not have a mentor. They thought, oh, this is not rocket science. I can figure it out as I go. And they run these apartments into the ground, which of course creates opportunity for people like myself and other syndicators that know what they're doing. And they go out and do it right and buy it. They go out and buy it from the people who run it into the ground, and they go do it right and make millions of dollars while the other person lost tens of thousands or sometimes even hundreds of thousands on the same deal. Do not try to do what I'm saying without joining a group, without taking 20 or 30 hours of classes on how to run these things. Another great resource that is a supplement to Real Wealth Academy is the Houston Apartment Association. Fantastic classes. In fact, I won't even hire a property manager that hasn't been through their classes. They're amazing. The Houston Apartment Association is amazing. It's really the flagship of the National Apartment Association. That's how credible the Houston Apartment Association is. So if you got the idea that you just, woohoo, I'm going to buy an apartment and it'll be passive income, you got another thing coming. That's not how it works. Somebody in that deal is going to have to work it. And things can go wrong. You can have incompetent, but I will say this, it's rare. I would even call it, compared to disasters in the stock market, it's very rare for an apartment complex to have a problem with a competent syndicator or leader in the deal. In fact, the key word here is almost every deal that I've ever seen had a problem, it was the responsibility of the person managing the deal. Almost every single time. But there are times, like I saw some people get in trouble in 2008 and 9 and 10 with really they did everything they could. Now, they didn't lose the property, but they certainly didn't make money during those times because of the economy and things like that. But again, I want you to understand that those are extremely rare cases. Extremely rare. that if you follow the map that we teach at Real Wealth Academy for how to buy these apartment complexes and how to run them, combine that with the classes at Houston Apartment Association and do what they say, you know, that's another funny thing. You know that every single person I've ever seen screw up a deal, it was because they just didn't do what they were told to do. And it's an arrogance thing. Because it's not ignorance. I know they know the right things to do. Just don't do them. Or they have their own ideas. They're smarter than the National Apartment Association. They're smarter than Real Wealth Academy. They're smarter than the Houston Apartment Association. I mean, it doesn't even make sense when you say it out loud, but that's what people do, and they get themselves in trouble. And it's also possible to get a horrible property management company in there and have them destroy the property. That's why you don't loose the reins. That's why you need somebody in the deal that keeps control of those books, that keeps control of the responsibility of running that deal. Now, with all that negativity, let's get to the majority of the deals. The majority, vast majority of deals are awesome. They're incredible. They're life-changing. And the vast majority of syndicators, leaders in the deal, do very, very well. So almost always, apartments are more effective, especially for people like me who is very time sensitive. I want to go fast. Why? Because you know my opinion on getting old. It sucks. It's terrible. I wish I didn't have to do it. So I want to go fast, and apartments allow that. When I was buying a house at a time, and all of a sudden I bought a 10-unit all at once, it was insane. I mean, it changed my life, because I went, holy Toledo, I did the exact same amount of work that I did to buy that one house. I just bought 10 units for, again, the exact same amount of work. Then when I got a 200 unit, I went, holy Toledo, that wasn't much more work than the 10 unit. But I got 200 units. And so on, and so on. So when it comes to speed, if you're time sensitive like I am, and you don't want to be rich when you're old, you want to be rich now, apartments are the way to go. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I got a couple of emails. Why do you talk so much single family? Why do you talk so much single family on your show when I know you have owned 4,000 units of apartments? Why don't you talk about apartments as much as you talk about single family? The reason is that it's much more difficult to get you, the listener, to take the leap from owning zero real estate to owning an apartment complex. Much more difficult to do that than it is to get you to believe that you can buy one rent property. So I choose, as a rule, to focus on helping people grasp the concept that they can buy one rent property. We'll talk more after the break here on the GetRealWealth.com radio show. You're listening to AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Did you know that 95% of Americans fail to retire by age 65 and 36% are dead? The good news is that here at the GetRealWealth.com radio show, we know what the other 5% are doing. 70% of them own real estate. We are a mentoring group for new and experienced real estate investors. We will show you how to build a second stream of income that will allow you to retire at any age. I will be explaining this at a free 2-hour introductory workshop this month. If you would like to attend, please go to GetRealWealth.com. That's GetRealWealth.com. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We're talking today about apartment complexes, and I'm trying to explain why I choose to talk more single family, even though I'm all multifamily apartments in my investments. And just to restate what I said at the end of the last segment, it's because my mission on this show is to encourage and empower people so that they believe that they can do a real estate deal. You know, I've shown it to you a couple times. If you buy one single family house, you'll make around 300% rate of return the first year that you own it. 300%. It's life changing. It's easier to get people to believe that and go take action than it is to say, hey, let's go buy a 100, 200 unit apartment complex tomorrow. Most of you are going, that'll never happen. I can't do that. You're wrong. But you believe it, so it makes it right in your brain. So I spend about 30, 40%, I guess it's not even 40%. I spend about 30% of the time on apartments, the other 60, 70% of the time on single family, with that mission in mind, which is to encourage and empower people so that they believe that they can do this. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about apartments and why they move you so fast. And we're also going to talk about my opinion for what to buy in an up market like today. And it's very simple. Value plays. I'm looking at yield plays with 3, 4, 5, 6% rate of return. That's just not interesting to me. You need to be making more than that with your money. The value plays are the disaster complexes. These are the complexes where you go out, you find property that's been neglected or abandoned in some cases, or just simply mismanaged. You buy them at deep discounts because their net operating income is very low. The reason it's low is because they have high vacancy and they have low rents. Because how do you get people to move into your apartment complex if it's a piece of crap? You got to lower the rents. So they got low rents and they've got a lot of vacancy. That makes their net operating income low. Therefore, their value is low. And you can buy property at a deep, deep discount because we're in the up market. Now, when the crash comes, I like both type deals. I like the yield play and I like the value play. And the crash is coming. It's not if, it's when. Do I think it's anytime soon? No. And then everybody's going to have a different opinion for what soon is, 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. But it is coming, and that'll be the time to do yield plays again. Right now, the focus needs to be on buying properties below market value so that if the crash does, when the crash does come, you're still able to cash flow, maintain the property, and buy more property at even deeper discounts because what? Because it's the recession again, or it's the crash, whatever the circumstance may be. Now, why does it make you go so much faster? I kind of explained that when I said I went from buying 1 unit at a time to buying 10, then 20, then 40, then 200. See how big a difference that is? So apartments are definitely the way to go if you're like me and you're time sensitive. They can also be completely passive if you choose to be the passive investor in these syndicated deals. That's what I choose to do. I just put up my money and I get a check every quarter. Sometimes it goes a year, sometimes it goes 2 years, and then boom, I get 100% rate of return, or 50, or 150, and then the cash flow starts. So sometimes there are delays, but you usually know that up front. In other words, every deal I've ever done like that, I knew up front that it was going to be a year or 2 years before we started receiving dividends, but I also knew that at the end of the second year I was going to get 50 to 150% of my money back, and I'd still have my money in the deal. So you want to keep apartments on your radar, but if you're sitting there going, man, I'm scared to buy a single family house, you might want to consider doing that first. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. The exception would again be the syndicated deal, where you have an experienced syndicator who's run other apartment complexes, and it's safe as can be because he's done it before. He's done it multiple times, or she's done it before. She's done it multiple times before successfully. So it's a very low risk. So you put up your money that way completely passively. And anybody can do that because you're not responsible for anything except cashing your check every quarter. But for people to suggest that apartments are easy to run is not accurate at all. The opposite is true. It takes a hefty skill set. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to run one of these things correctly. And that's what that syndicator or leader is there to do. So, any of you thinking, well, I'm just going to go buy an apartment complex on my own, I'm warning you, please don't do that without taking a course. It doesn't have to be ours, but it's got to be somebody's. Take a course, then hit the Houston Apartment Association. Because remember, the Houston Apartment Association courses teach you how to be an employee. They're like formal education. Our courses teach you how to be an owner. You need both forms of education in this case. So there's the answer to, by the way, that was, good Lord, that must have been 6 different emails asked about that same question. And I think it was because they were listening to other real estate investor radio shows where they talk mostly about apartments, and they were wondering why I was talking mostly single family. Again, the reason is I think it's easier to encourage someone to get their first single family than it is to say, hey, make the jump from skip single family, go all the way to apartments instantly. Now, do a lot of people do that? Absolutely. But I like taking people step by step by step through it. And that's why I have a tendency to spend more time on single family. Okay. The next question that I want to address from email is, this is an attorney, or he's not an attorney yet. He's studying, he's in classes to get his law license. And he said, I think I'm going to get my real estate license, in his comment. And I didn't mean to, but I guess I replied very bluntly, that's not a good idea. Then he emailed back and said, why? I said, because of the disclosure rules, laws, it makes it very difficult to do deals. So let me explain what I mean by that. If I go out as a real estate investor and I'm sitting with a family, I am going to negotiate this way. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I'm willing to give you $80,000 for your home because it needs $40,000 worth of work. For me to put up $120,000 and take all that risk, I've got to make a profit. I'm willing to give you $80,000 for your home. Will you take it? Does that sound fair to you? There's my negotiation. Here's what you have to do if you're a realtor. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Your house is worth $200,000. I'm only willing to give you $80,000. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you $80,000, go put $40,000 in it, and then sell it for $200,000. I'm going to make $80,000 on the deal if you sell me your house. Sound like a good deal, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Can you see why that destroys probably 80-90% of deals? Because you have to disclose all that information. You're considered a professional. And if you don't give them that information, you're considered taking advantage of them because you have that license. So I'm telling you, if you don't have a license, do not go get one. The only reason you would want to go get one is because for some reason you like driving people around on the weekends showing houses. That's your thing. For me, that I have no interest in that whatsoever. But some people love it. Realtors, a good realtor is going to love doing that. That's their thing. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's kind of cool. It's a good thing they're here. They help a lot of people. If they weren't here, there'd be a lot of people without houses. So I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying it wouldn't be for me. I couldn't do that. I'd rather be teaching. But some realtor who loves to drive people around on the weekend goes, ooh, I hate teaching. I don't even want to stand in front of a group. So it's just a matter of choice and what makes you happy. So that's why I tell you, do not get a real estate license. Those disclosure laws will kill 50, 60, 70, 80% of your deals. Okay? All right, by the way, the phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or you can email me, as all these people have done. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com, and I will answer your question live on the air if we have time. If not, I'll answer it pretty much immediately after the show. Pretty much. Okay. Phone number again, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Okay, this next question is, what's the best way to learn wholesaling? Well, here comes a sales pitch. Let me teach you. Come to our free introductory workshop, join up, and let me teach you how to wholesale. Okay? So here's the non-sales pitch answer. You've got to join a real estate investor group. It is the best place to find buyers for your deals, and it's the best place to find a mentor for how to wholesale, and it's the best place to get your full education. I just don't understand people who and I love Bigger Pockets. What I don't like is that there's people on Bigger Pockets that literally think they're going to learn how to be real estate investors by just asking questions to a forum. Ludicrous. It's going to take you months and years to learn what you could have learned in a 2-day class for $1,000. Pay the $1,000 and save those years. Your years are worth more than $1,000, aren't they? Save that $1,000. Save those years. Go spend the $1,000. Learn it in 2 days. Okay, this is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. If you've got a question for me, you can email me at AskSteve@GetRealWealth.com or call me at 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700 KSEV. Thanks for listening. 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate as their main investment vehicle. Listen to the GetRealWealth.com radio show to find out how you can do it too. Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We're talking about the best way to learn wholesaling, and I gave my sales pitch for our program, and then I gave my sales pitch for, if not us, somebody. Don't take years to learn what you can. Your life is worth more than any course costs, and it literally takes years off of the learning curve. The other part I want to make sure that Michael gets is you line up your buyers first. Huge mistake. I see it all the time, almost invariably. People, they go out and find a deal, and then they come running around. You want this deal? You want this deal? You want this deal? To strangers, referrals. They're begging for referrals. I'm like, did you not build your buyers list first? What were you thinking? You think buyers just appear magically? They don't. So, Michael, make sure you join a real estate investor group and then build your buyers list, which should be somewhere between 30 and 40. And then when you find a deal, you just start calling through them. Hey, do you want it? No. 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 Do you want it? Yes. Boom, it's gone. We're talking 30 minutes to sell one, an hour to sell one, instead of wandering around going, I need a buyer, and then losing the deal because you can't get it done within the 4 days or 5 days that you have control of the property. Okay. All right. Next question. My email is open to you right now. If you've got a question, It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com, or call me at 281-558-5738, 281-558-5738. Month-to-month lease or yearly lease. That's a loaded question, because I have an individual on a month-to-month lease. It's actually a couple. And the reason I do is because they're in their late 80s, early 90s. They are $500 below the market rent. So I can't tell you that I've never done a month-to-month lease. But the reason I do it is these people are on a fixed income. I'm not going to raise their rent. I don't know where they would go. And yeah, I'm still making positive cash flow on it, so I'm not some hero. But I would never do month-to-month leases on a regular basis. You want that lease signed yearly. And the minute a lease ends, or actually 30 days before a lease ends, call your tenant up, say, are you moving out or are you staying? Because if you're staying, you need to sign another year lease and get another year lease signed. This is your best option. It's your best way to do it, because most people will honor the 12 months. Not all, but most people will honor their word. And if you've got them to sign a one-year lease, then you got nothing to worry about for a year. I don't do 2-year leases because I'm generally, especially in today's market and the way it's been for the last really 20 years, I'm raising the rent every year. $15, $35. There's even been years I got away with $50 or more. So the answer to that is yearly leases are far superior to monthly leases. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-5738. Okay, the next question is, can you review the numbers from last week's flip? Yeah, they happen to be right here. Yeah, what this was a flip I did probably 5 or 6 years ago. It just happened to happen. When I did it last week, it was because I had the numbers sitting on my desk. But I did several of these last year. Numbers are almost identical. So don't say, oh, that was 5 years ago, the market was different. Bull. I did a bunch of these last year too, almost just like them. They were a little more expensive. Average price ARV was probably somewhere between $350 and $400. This one had an ARV of just $285, but it's the same deal. It's the same deal. So here are the numbers from that flip. $285 ARV. My purchase price was $110. Rehab was huge. This would cost the normal person $80,000 to $100,000. I was able to get it done for $60,000. Closing costs were around $8,000 which is high because I used a hard money loan. My all-in cost was $178. This was a zero down deal. Zero out of pocket. Holding costs have to be considered. In this case, my mortgage, 1% of the loan, which was $178, is $1,780 a month, 4 times. And why am I using the number 4? Because the average days on market was 3 months. I added a month for safety, and so my holding costs were $7,120. Taxes, 4 times 537, which was $2,150, and insurance was $1,800. I did get a check back after I sold it, but it wasn't for much, a couple $100. So let's leave that at $1,800. So all of my holding costs for that property were $11,000. That means, let's talk about commission. I did try to sell it for a month. You know my strategy if you've listened for a while. I always, whenever I'm doing a flip, as soon as this starting counting at the end of the rehab, as soon as it's perfect, put that sign in the front yard and try to sell it yourself. If it doesn't sell in 30 days, don't keep trying to sell it yourself. These real estate agents have, a good real estate agent has mad skills. I mean, they are good at what they do. They're good at finding buyers. They're good at showing the property. They're good at getting people excited about the property, and they're good at getting that contract written. Those are all very challenging skill sets. If you do not have them, then hire an agent. I hired an agent last year, 20 houses I think it was, or 17 houses she sold. I think her average days on market was less than a week. The average was less than a week. So add commissions in there of $17,100 at the $285 sale price. All in, let's review, $178 plus holding costs plus commission. All in was $206,170. Subtract that from the $285 sale price. Net profit $78,830. $78,830 off of zero invested. Now, are deals like this on every street corner? No, but I do this on a regular basis, but it just happened that at my free workshop last night, a hard money lender was there. And I asked him, how are things going? He goes, Steve, we have 3 0 down deals in our office right now. So they are there. They're actually all over the place. Average out of pocket on a deal like this is probably closer to $20,000, $30,000, but this one was zero. They're out there, so I hope that helps. That's, again, 2015 or 16, but I did a bunch of these just like it last year. So the market is still prime for this style deal if you've got a flip. Remember, though, what is flipping? Is it investing? No. It's earned income. Make sure you pay your taxes properly because you can get in trouble. Okay, the next email, by the way, the email is asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com, or you can call me at 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, and that's any question that you want to ask. It doesn't have to be on the subject matter that we're covering. Whatever you want to know, you let me know. 281-558-5738. This is an interesting series of questions. I'm going to answer all these questions without reading them because it'll make sense when I'm answering what the question was. But it has to do with property age for buy and hold rentals. This comes from the Dallas market, and there's a ton of people out there that have this written law. I don't buy anything pre-1980. I have no idea where that comes from. I have bought stuff from the 50s. I bought stuff from the 60s. I can honestly say I've never bought stuff from the 40s or older, but what I'm saying is I probably would. I don't give a darn about the age. I don't know why people do. If it's got good bones, as they say, and you do your rehab correctly, it's still a deal. So no, I don't have any specific cutoff date. Like I said, I've done stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, a lot of stuff from the 90s, a lot of stuff from the 80s. So if you were to say, what do you prefer? I like 1980 or younger. But if someone calls me up and goes, I've got a 1970 deal, I'm not going to say, no, I just don't do it because it's a 1970 deal. To me, that's ridiculous. I have no idea why people do that. I'm going to look at the deal, look at the condition. Now, do I get inspections on a 1970 or 60 or 50 deal that is different than, say, 80s or 90 deal? Sure. And don't you do this. I don't even get inspections on 80s and 90s and 2000s deals. Now, I want you to get inspections. You get inspections, but I don't. But stuff older than that, you bet I get an inspector in there for $300 or $400 to look that thing over and make sure it's got good bones, that I can rehab it and make it a viable project. The other part of this question is somehow he's got apartments in here. So I guess he's talking about buying single family and apartments that are over 30 years of age. And the answer is, again, the same. I'm going to get the inspections done, make sure it's got good bones. If it does, and it's still a viable project, I'm still going to buy it. Okay, phone lines are open for one more segment. It's 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to the GetRealWealth.com radio show here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Did you know that 95% of Americans fail to retire by age 65 and 36% are dead? The good news is that here at the GetRealWealth.com radio show, we know what the other 5% are doing. 70% of them own real estate. We are a mentoring group for new and experienced real estate investors. We will show you how to build a second stream of income that will allow you to retire at any age. I will be explaining this at a free 2-hour introductory workshop this month. If you would like to attend, please go to GetRealWealth.com. That's GetRealWealth.com. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Phone lines are open at 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com. I'm not sure if this is the same Michael with the other question, but I got another email from a Michael. It says, 720 credit score, wants to do a cash out refinance on investment property. What is the going rate? Who charges a fair amount so that I can get the most money back? You know, the first place to start, Michael, is Capital Concepts. You want to ask for Blake Yarborough. The website is forsmartmoney.com. Let me verify that while I'm sitting here, but it's forsmartmoney.com. Sorry about that. Yes, forsmartmoney.com. Ask for Blake Yarborough. Tell him exactly what you're doing. If he can't get you what you need done, he will definitely have a referral for you. So check that out. And I also love your final comment. I would like to reinvest the money into more real estate. That is exactly what you should do, Michael. Congratulations and good luck. Okay, the next one is a speculation question. I have to read this one to you because it's a little complex. He says, excuse me if I have not heard you discern this particular topic. Do you find any value in ground up build speculation, i.e. lots, develop and build and market? He goes on to say, I understand the investment versus speculation aspect. Again, does speculation have a place in your portfolio of diversification? It really doesn't for me, Darren. But I will not sit here and tell you that you can't do that. And here's the type of person that should do that. They probably loved Legos when they were a kid. You didn't like Legos. You loved Legos. And you want to build something. And you get excited about building it. And it drives you crazy. And you just, man, it's so wonderful when it's finished. In fact, you even love it when it's in the middle. 70% done, 80% done, 100% done. You love building stuff. Absolutely, that can work. No question whatsoever. I just don't do it because I have no passion for it. I built a few houses in Galveston, did okay with them, but I made a lot more money in apartments. So for me, it was a no-brainer to ditch that and stick with apartments. But if you want to do it, Darren, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Just make sure you have a mentor, an experienced speculator, developer on your team that knows what they're doing, because that is, like apartments, extremely complex. extremely complex. Getting utilities put in, getting the city on your team. And I'm going to complain about the city, even though I've worked with them many times, and most times I've had really good luck, but this time, waiting for my office to get inspected, it's been like 4 weeks. Unbelievable that they would delay a company from opening 4 weeks because they can't get an inspector to inspect an 11,000 square foot office. Give me a break. So you've got to be able to master all those things. You need architects, you need builders. It's very, very complex. So if you're going to do it, go back to what I said at the beginning, which is make sure you're passionate about it. If not, you should do something simpler, like passively investing in apartments. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or AM700, or email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com, asksteve@getrealwealth.com. I'm sorry, I was reading another email while trying to give the phone number out. Probably shouldn't do that. Let's see. This is a I can't answer this question on the phone. I can answer it. I cannot reserve you a seat for the free workshop. If you want to meet me tomorrow morning, go to getrealwealth.com. Getrealwealth.com. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see free workshop. That will take you to a page where you can register for the free introductory workshop tomorrow morning. It's from 9 to 11. Those are real times. We start a little bit after 9, but we are done and out of there by 11, so you can go and enjoy the rest of your day. In that workshop, I will explain exactly how the mentoring works. We will do a single-family case study, a 30-unit apartment case study, and I'll teach you some of the principles that we use to run our families and businesses. So that's a 2-hour workshop tomorrow morning, 9 to 11. If you want to reserve a seat for that, go to getrealwealth.com, getrealwealth.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, just click free workshop. Again, don't email me. I cannot reserve a seat for you. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Next question is the same question that I had last week, and this is becoming more and more common. Can I roll my 401k over into an IRA? You know, the answer is yes and no. You're going to have to talk to your company about how to do that. There are ways to get it, but they're very complex and they can be expensive. But it's generally worth the expense to pull it off because you make so much more money by having the money in an IRA and self-directing it. So the answer is yes as a rule, but you're going to have to talk to your administrator at your work to find out if you can do that. Now, if you leave the company, I think that you can do it instantly. It's no problem. But while you're still at the company, like you've indicated, it may be a problem. Do me a favor. Wait for me to email you after the show, and I'll talk to my CPA and get an answer for you that's more accurate. I'm trying to read the rest of this and see if there's any other questions. Yes, our membership does cover family. If you join, it's a membership for you, your significant other, or spouse, and children 18 and under. We have an outstanding children's program. It's very effective, very effective. It worked on my son. He graduated college with 11 rent houses and $3,500 a month passive income, almost $4,000. It's a very effective children's educational system. So the answer is yes to that as well. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-5738. Okay, next question is, you call flipping earned income. What if you hold the property for longer than a year? I like to buy them move in. I've seen this strategy before. That's crazy to me. You save a couple of bucks in taxes, but look how slow you're going. You're doing less than one deal a year with your strategy of buy it, move in it, do all the work yourself, eke the repairs out over time. I don't like that strategy at all. It's too slow. Way too slow. You need to be doing 3, 4, and 5 deals a year. Don't move into them. The other thing is you shouldn't be doing the work yourself. You should not be doing the work yourself. That is a cheap, it's not lazy, I guess. I'm not sure what the word would be. It's just you're not getting it. You're not thinking like a business person. You're thinking like a self-employed person. And while flipping is self-employment, you shouldn't be the one doing the work on the property. First off, you can hire somebody that can do it faster and probably better than you. Because don't tell me that you're an expert painter, an expert electrician, an expert plumber, an expert roofer. No. People who are experts at those things are experts at one thing. So I do not like that strategy. Sorry to be discouraging, but you could go so much faster if you'd stop doing that and switch over to using hard money loans that include the rehab in the loan and get someone else to do those rehabs. You should be working on 2 houses at a time, not 1 a year. Okay, let's go to the phone lines now. Brandon is here from Sealy. Brandon, thanks a lot for calling in. How are you today?
Good. Thanks, Steve, for taking my call. I'm kind of curious because I've been trying to invest in property for a little while now, but it's kind of tricky, like when you have a full-time job and you have a family and you're trying not to avoid debt, at least, and plus my wife wants to get a house too, so I'm kind of struggling. I have one rental property in Washington State, but it's hard to manage from here in a proper management company there.
Okay.
And so I'm just curious, what's a good way to transition? Should I sell that?
Well, I would sell that because it's so far away. How much equity do you have in it?
I own it completely.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Brandon, I would sell it, bring that money down here and buy 10 or 15 houses, including one for your wife. Start with the one for your wife. Do me a favor, Brandon. I'm going to have the producer give you my phone number because we're at the end of the show. Call me after the show, and I'll answer the rest of this question. All right. This has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Thanks for listening.
GetRealWealth.com radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decision. To find out about the mentoring and consulting at Real Wealth Academy, visit GetRealWealth.com and attend one of our free introductory workshops on real estate investing. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thanks for listening and have a great rest of your day.